Hello, Nick Jones here for another instalment of the stretch series. So please check the description to see which length of stretch routine this is. Apart from that, pause and read the disclaimer. Again, I wouldn't recommend this for everyone. I don't know who's watching, but if you get tight hips, this series could be good for you. Apart from that, let's get to it. All you're going to need is a mat and yourself. Next stretch up is going to be our pigeon. You're going to go hands and knees. Right knee nice and far forward, left knee nice and far back. Swing that right foot round towards your left hand. Then just walk your left knee back until you get deeper and deeper into that stretch. Then you can either stay up on your hands like that, or you can drop down to your forearms like I'm doing right now. Or you can then go out nice and long to this position if you want to take it even further, but that's not very comfortable for me. Like I said, I almost recommend holding kind of like an 8 out of 10 in terms of, 7 to 8 out of 10 in terms of tension. You don't want to feel like you're literally ripping the muscle apart. You want to just have a bit of good pressure, uncomfortable but bearable, and just slowly wait for that muscle to ease off. That's going to be it. We're going to swap the sides. So left knee nice and far forward now, right knee nice and far back. Swing your left foot round towards the right hand as good as you can, and then walk your right knee back deeper and deeper into this stretch. Again, you can complete the stretch when you can get your left hip completely on the floor. Apart from that, just sink into it nice and deeply, just relax into it, just take some time to yourself and just really stretch everything off. Again, I like to hold my stretches for a nice long time. When I was injured, I've had a few injuries in the past. I found stretching didn't really make a huge amount of difference till I discovered this kind of yin yoga. It's basically where you stretch for you hold certain positions but hold them for longer. It's less different moves, but you hold them for longer. And I just found this really helped me, really helped relax muscles off. Okay, so next up, what you're going to do, sit on your bum, cross your legs. I'm going to turn to face the camera so you can see what I'm doing. So just cross your legs and then just walk your hands out as far as you can. And just slowly try and work on getting those elbows down onto the floor. If you can only just about get your hands on the floor, that's fine too. It just means it's kind of a stretch we need to work on. Okay, so this is what I call kind of completing the stretch, is where your knees are nice and low and your elbows are down on the floor as you're hitting this stretch. I mean, you can take it one stage further, where some people can kind of get their chest like right, or as low as they can go, but I'm not quite there yet. Apart from that, you get a nice stretch around the hips and in the glutes and at the base of the spine where it meets the pelvis, stretching everything around that SI joint. Okay, let's finish there. Take one leg out nice and straight at kind of a 45-degree angle away. And then what you're going to do is reach down, touch the toe. You want to try and keep your knee on the floor though. So if your knee's on the floor and it means you can't get to the toe, that's absolutely fine. Don't worry at all. Just hold on to a bit of your shin and just pull yourself as far down as you can. And again, if you're feeling any pain in your neck or shoulder. Remember, you don't really have to pull down, just have your hand resting on your leg and just lean the head down towards the toe. So we get a nice big stretch down the back of the leg. So again, when we're trying to relieve pain in the hip, we're trying to stretch every single structure that connects to it. So we're talking about the outside of the leg, which we've just been doing quite a lot with the last few stretches. We want to do the back of the leg, the inside of the leg, and the front of the leg, plus the outside of the hip. Right, over to the other side. So again, leg straight out at a 45-degree angle. Make sure that knee is on the floor as you reach down towards those toes. Again, you don't want to be at, you want to be at kind of a 7 to 8 out of 10 in terms of discomfort. You want it to be uncomfortable but not painful, and then just hold it for, I found that a lot more effective for me, in my opinion, is being kind of moderate discomfort but holding it for longer. As the time goes on, just slowly try and get further and further. Remember, completing the stretch is just being able to touch your toes. I found since I've been able to touch my toes, a lot of my lower back pain has switched off. And but then advanced is when the people can go and get their chest like right down to their thigh. I'm definitely not there yet, but I'm working on it. Apart from that, just relax into the stretch as the time goes on. Okay, so we're going to finish up there. Then now what we're going to do is we're going to go same seated position, but you're going to put the soles of your feet together. Tuck your feet in as close towards the bum as you can, and then just hold on to the hip. Every breath out, try and drop those knees lower and lower. I have actually got a bit of a hip issue going on at the moment that I'm seeing someone about. As you can see, my right knee is a lot higher than my left, so it's a bit uncomfortable, this stretch for me. So if you want, you can put your hands behind you like I am, and then just kind of lean the chest forward. And then just sink into it. A good minute here, and you stretch the inside of the legs. Okay, inside of the leg stretch number 2, what you're going to do is lie on your back. And what you're going to do, feet together again, and then just let the knees fall apart. You kind of play around with where you have your feet here in terms of having them nearer, having them further away. Also, to make things a little more comfortable, I put the back of the wrist on the outside of my bum, arms nice and straight to support my back all the way along, just so I can sink into the stretch that little bit more comfortably. Apart from that, as the time goes on, just relax into it, drop deeper and deeper into the stretcher, or lower and lower into the stretch, and just keep it going.
Halfway there. Rest.
Okay, into the next stretch. As we're now on our back, what we're going to do, we're going to roll onto our side as if we're in bed. Knees up nice and high. I'm rolling over to my left side. Fetal position on your side. Then what you're going to do is use your left hand to hold your knees down to get a bit of tension. And then relax your right shoulder back. When you complete this stretch, you'll have both knees together on the floor with that right shoulder touching the ground as well. This gives you a nice stretch across the ankle. It'll go a little bit into your lower back. Feel free to pick that knee up as high as you want to get deeper into that stretch. Bit of pressure down on that knee. Just helps you feel that stretch a little bit more. This is a lovely stretch to hit, this one. And it's really good if you suffer with kind of lower back pain first thing in the morning. Or tightness in the outside of the hip, kind of going round towards the lower back. Don't worry if you only feel the stretch in your lower back, or if you only feel it in the outside of your hip. It doesn't really matter where you feel it, just wherever you're feeling it is where you're tightest. Okay, so really slowly come on out of that stretch. Take it nice and easy, and then over to the other side. You really don't want to rush coming out of that one. Now we're going to go over to the other side. Knees over to your right side. Fetal position, knees up nice and high. Use your right hand to hold those knees down, and then relax your left shoulder back. And again, just sink back into it again. Same as the last stretch, but just on the other side. Just sink into it. Hits a really nice bit of the back and the hip, this one. And yeah, there's a really good stretch first thing in the morning. You can complete this stretch when both knees are touching and they're towards, and you're pressing them down towards the floor. And then when your opposite shoulder is then touching the ground. Apart from that, just relax into it and just feel the stretch doing its work.
Halfway there.
Okay, slowly come on out of that stretch. Now we're going to go onto the front of the hip.
Let's go.
Okay, this next stretch, what we're going to do is a really big, deep stretch in the front of the quad and sort of crosses over to the hip. I'm simulating it, but imagine you're doing this up against the wall. Really pad underneath your knee for this stretch. You're going to hook your foot up like that. I'm doing it against the bench just so you can see how I'm doing this quad stretch. You want your toes up on the wall. And what you're going to do is stand up nice and tall. Get that heel as near to your bum as you can. Then your other leg out nice and far in front of you. And then just lean forward and push that hip forward again. Again, almost going into that kind of posterior pelvic tilt again. And you should feel this massively down the front of your leg. Right up to the top by the hip flexors and then also down into the quads as well. This is my favourite quad stretch to hit, and my mobility in my quads has got. Just remember that option though. If this is too uncomfortable for you, just lie on your side, heel to bum, and just hit your normal quad
Halfway
stretch.
there.
So just get that heel as close up to the bum as you can and push the hip forward. So now we're going to do the same for the other side, under that tripled up mat underneath your knee. Make sure you really pad underneath the knee.
Let's go.
Again, if you've got a thin yoga mat, make sure you've got a cushion underneath that knee. You don't want to be giving yourself bursitis or anything. So right foot is on the floor, left knee is on the floor, and left foot is hooked up against the wall. Sit up nice and tall as you're doing this, and just lean in again and get that stretch deeper and deeper as the time goes on. And just remember that option, lying on your side, heel to bum, to stretch the quad out if this one isn't possible for you or too uncomfortable. Apart from that, we'll stretch to the finish. Okay, so that's us pretty much done. There's some awesome editing in that knot. So that's our 15-minute hip mobility stretch routine. That's a wrap. And hope you enjoyed it. Support the channel however you can. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and hopefully see you in another video or the same one. See you soon.